So anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to let Melanie share with you what her new client shared with her, word for word, not redacted, not added to, not messed up in any way. I wish I could play you the recording, because to hear the heartbreak in her voice is 90% of the context of it. But she deals with this every day. She works in this department, and she works for a very large, been around a long time, Medicare Advantage company. And the first thing she said to Melanie was, I won't have one. Don't even talk about it. I'm not going to go on one, because I know how they work on the inside. I can hear it now. My agent colleagues in the field are going to comment on this video and say, you don't know what you're talking about. And then some seniors will always comment, no one can afford those Medicare supplement plans. I hear you. You can save your keyboard strokes. I've heard it 1,000 times before. People think that Medicare supplement is too expensive until they wish they could get one, and there's no way that they possibly could. People think that Medicare Advantage is worth it because of all the extra benefits that they get, until they actually have to go use it for something complicated like a health crisis. And again, I wish for not only all my clients, but for everybody in the senior community that's on Medicare, that they never have to experience the limits of their plan, but they can fulfill everything that they need within the caveats of what they've already got. I hope that for everybody. But when it hits the fan and you're faced with a life and death decision, and that decision's not being made then by your doctor, but by an administrator based on what could save the plan the most money, then it would be you that's impacted. And I hope it's not. Anyway, so here's Melanie. I hope you all had a great Saturday as we're making this in here. The phones are ringing. We're still calling people back, but I'm going to go pull her off the phone just for a minute so she can share this part with you. So I'll see you at the end, but thanks for watching. So you had a client today, brand new to Medicare Supplement.
Yes.
And she shared with you where she'd been working her whole life. Where was that? What kind of a place?
A place that sells Medicare Advantage plans.
Here we have her words, because she said we could use her words but not her voice. Can you share with me what her words to you were?
Yes. She said, I just think the Medicare HMO, the Advantage plan, the more I worked with, and I worked for an Advantage plan, but people really, they would do things like approve their open heart surgery, but you still had to have your $300 copay for your CT or MRI. And when folks didn't have that, they couldn't have their open heart surgery.
So I called, just on more to that, I called her and asked her if I could use her voice. And she was sharing with me that these are the precursors to having the big surgery.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, this person had a very urgent situation, needed the surgery really bad, but they didn't have the $300 for the preliminary test, so they didn't actually get the surgery. And go ahead, I'm sorry.
She said, yeah, it was just bizarre. And living with fulminant congestive heart failure, you know, I was never allowed to tell anybody any of that stuff, but it broke my heart, and you see them die. You know what? All those good things they tell you that Advantage plans will cover for you, yeah, it depends on how much it costs. I dealt with clients that were furious and frightened and just in an absolute mess when something major happens, and the bills are sky high and they don't have it, you know? And it might be cheaper on the front end, but you're still going to pay it on the back end.
How many times have you heard stories about Advantage plans and doing what you do, and
Very often. This is the first time I've spoken to somebody who actually worked for one and told me directly they do not want their product.
Yeah. So she specifically says, I don't want Medicare Advantage, and then she tells you why.
And then she tells me why. And
how important do you think it is that you do your job the way you do?
Very important. When she tells me things like this, it broke my heart to know there's people out there, you know, they can't afford to get these things done, and it causes them to die because they can't get their open heart surgery. It's unacceptable.
I'm sure it's a worst case scenario, but if it happens once, it happens too often. Thanks for having shared that with me today, Melanie. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So people ask, why do I do these videos every day? Why have I been doing videos every day for the last 25 days in a row? And I'll tell you, because we get questions like this all the time, and then people call in and put gas in my tank when they say, thank you for answering that question I couldn't find the answer to, but because I searched it online, I found your information, I found your video, and it answered my question so I can move forward. You may ask, how do you make out in this? I help seniors enroll for their Medicare supplement insurance all around the country. If they want Medicare Advantage, we can pull up the details. We can enroll them in that plan, depending on which plan it is. We don't have access to all the Medicare Advantage plans. Some of them are just captive or they're direct to consumer. But we answer people's questions and we sign them up for plans. We're a typical insurance agent, just like a life insurance agent or a homeowner's insurance agent or a car insurance agent. You don't pay them extra fees and penalties to use the agency. Hopefully you let them be an independent broker and they find you the best deal. That's what we do with Medicare. We're an independent brokerage. We represent all the top companies. We make a recommendation, and if we do the application, we get the small part that's already embedded as commission, which is part of the premium of every plan. If you went direct to the company, direct to the insurance company, you wouldn't save $1 because the premiums are all the same. We get paid by helping people enroll in plans. So if you're in a plan that you can't get out of, you're already in the best plan, but you know someone who's making a consideration as to which plan to go to, maybe they're turning 65 or they have other employment choices, like they're losing their employer plan, they're starting on Part B, they need to know, should I do it, should I not? Can you compare whether it's going to be good or bad depending on all the factors involved? That's what we do every day. So if you know somebody we can help, please refer them to us. And thanks for watching. We'll be here with more news about Medicare.